Hello everyone. Today we have with us Dr. Abhay Kumar. Dr. Abhay Kumar is a uro-oncologist and onco-surgeon, head of uro-oncology services at Narayana Hospital in Kolkata and Howrah. With over 10 years of experience, he has performed umpteen number of uro-oncology surgeries. So over to you, Dr. Abhay.
Hi, thank you, Aritra, for introducing me. Uh, I'm based in Howrah and Kolkata, and I will take care of the services of Narayana Health in entire Eastern India. And I'm basically a urologist, uro-oncologist, and robotic surgeon. And I have around 10 years of experience with me. Okay?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
so what is prostate cancer?
Prostate is a small gland in the male reproductive system, which is located near the base of the bladder in the pelvis. And when any abnormal growth in the prostate occurs, which has a tendency to, spread to the other part of the body, we call it as cancer. So any abnormal growth in any part of the body is basically a tumor or abnormal growth. And when this tumor or the growth has the tendency to grow to spread to the other part of the body, we call it as a cancer.
So, what are the symptoms of prostate cancer?
Okay, so we have two problems with the prostate. One is the benign enlargement of the prostate, and other is the cancer of the prostate. And the problem is both these problems, the prostate cancer and the BPH or benign enlargement, have similar presentation or similar symptoms. So it's very difficult to differentiate whether these symptoms or the problem whichever the patients are complaining are because of the BPH or the cancer. So what may be the symptoms? Initially, in the early stages, there are no symptoms or they are asymptomatic, right? So that's why there is a role of routine screening or routine health checkups. In some patients, they may have symptoms like frequency of urination. They need to go to toilet more often. They have to get up in the night to pass urine. That is called nocturia. They may find difficult to hold the urine back when they get the urge to pass urine. This is called urgency. And sometimes they leak urine, few drops of urine in the undergarments when they can't hold. Sometimes they find it difficult to start the urination. So if they have got the urge to pass urine, they go to toilet and they find it difficult to start the urination. Sometimes the flow is not good. They, have to push hard to pass urine or strain to pass urine. And even after passing urine, they feel unsatisfied and feel that they have not passed urine completely. So these are symptoms which you mainly they're attributed to the enlarged prostate, which may be benign or cancers. In cancers, when the disease has spread to the other part of the bodies, they may have some pain in the lower back or spine, and maybe the pain is going down to the limbs or lower, legs, and sometimes blood in urine and sometimes burning in urine. So these are the signs which we can say they are because of the prostate cancer. Okay.
Yeah. So, generally, how prostate cancer is diagnosed?
You see, Aritra, patients usually come for a checkup, health checkup, and we find there is some abnormality and we proceed with the diagnosis. Sometimes they come with the problem, like I mentioned, the symptoms which they come with that. Sometimes they come with some other problem like complete paralysis, some back pain and some orthopedic problem, and then we come to know they have prostate cancer, right? So for the diagnosis, the basic things that are required is one blood test called PSA, is a prostate specific antigen. So this is basically a blood test which is done routinely for diagnosis of these cancers, and thankfully this is a very good sensitive tool for diagnosing prostate cancer. Other than this blood test, we can do an ultrasound of the abdomen to see how the kidneys are looking, how the prostate size is looking, and other than ultrasound, some urine tests to rule out urinary infections, urine routine and culture. And the most important is examination by an urologist. Okay, so an urologist, what does is he usually puts a finger in the back passage of the patient and tries to feel the prostate. If the prostate feels hard, then it's suspicious and it should be further investigated. In for these doubtful cases where the PSA is high or the examination by the doctor is doubtful, we do certain more tests like the biopsy from the prostate, which is done by transrectal ultrasound guided, and MRI of the prostate. And in advanced cases, if we feel, it's a proven case of cancer, then we do some more tests like CT scan of the abdomen or a PET scan of the abdomen. Okay.
Okay. So in the recent time, we're seeing lots of robotic surgery. So what is this robotic surgery?
Yeah. So, prostate and robotic surgeries are actually very interrelated, closely related. So when you talk about prostate cancer, we talk about robotic surgery, or when you talk about robotic surgery, maybe we talk about prostate cancer, because prostate cancer is the one problem where it has given popularity to the robots, right? So what is robotic surgery? So first I will let you know, talk about what is treatment of prostate cancer. So in the localized prostate cancer, the treatment is surgical removal of the prostate, that is called radical prostatectomy. Okay. So this surgery was usually getting done by open technique or a laparoscopic technique. But surgeons usually used to find it difficult to access the prostate because prostate is located deep inside the pelvis. So to get the access to the prostate was really challenging, and that's why there is evolution, or there is need of something like robotic surgery to get the things done in a easier way. So what robotic surgery means by, it's actually not robotic surgery, it's robot assisted surgery. So surgeons are doing the surgery, but they're getting assisted by some robotic arms. So where our own arms can't reach, the robotics arm can reach there safely and manipulate the instruments there safely and easily, so that we can remove the prostate easily without much collateral damage, without much of blood loss, and we can remove the complete prostate easily, and the patient goes home early. And the reconstruction, that is the after removing the prostate, we usually stitch the bladder with the normal urinary passage. So this reconstruction become really very easy with the robotic surgery. Okay.
So in generally, like how long this robot assisted prostatectomy surgery take?
See, with the experienced hands, takes around 3 to 4 hours, right? The natural open surgery also takes the same. 3 to 4 hours. So in the team which have enough experience, or they are dedicated teams, so they know how to do the things. It takes almost a similar time as that of the open surgeries. Okay, around 3 to 4 hours. Okay.
So why one should choose a robotic surgery over a like an open surgery?
Yeah, definitely. This is a very good question. Why? Because this technology is there, but it costs money. So you're going to spend a 1 or 1.5 lakhs rupees more. So why you are going to opt for robotic surgery? So this is a very common thing, common question. But there is enough data, enough experience to suggest that robotic surgery gives a better outcome for the patient, for the surgeon as well, right? It becomes easier, comfortable for the surgeon to operate there, as I mentioned, because of the advantage of the robotic arms. For the patients, there is a minimal pain because it's a keyhole surgery where there is a cut on the body, and it takes some time to heal, and there is scar. So there is minimal scarring, minimal blood loss, minimal pain, minimal hospital stay. Patient goes home around second day or third day. In open surgery, we keep patient for around 4 or 5 days in the hospital. And the catheter, after surgery, we put a catheter in the urethra, in the urinary passage, which we need to remove after some time. In open surgery, we take around 3 to 4 weeks to remove the catheter, but in robotic surgery, we take out after 1 week only. 7 days to 10 days maximum, right? So minimal maybe discomfort to the patients. So these are all advantages which we see. And other than these factors, other like oncological outcomes, the outcomes which is related to the cancer control is as good as open surgery. Functional outcome, that is the return to normal way of life, is better in robotic surgery as compared to the open surgery. So definitely there are a lot of points, and that's why if I feel I have to get it operated, my prostate has to be operated, I feel I should get it done by robotic surgery rather than open surgery. Okay.
Okay. So like if I'm going for a prostatectomy robot assisted surgery, so how long will I have to stay in the hospital, and when can I just resume my normal activities?
Oh, I've already answered, I think. Yeah. So, you need to stay in the hospital for around 2 to 3 days maximum, and you can resume your normal activity maybe after 2 to 3 weeks. Okay.
Okay. So what are the risks of this robot-assisted prostatectomy surgeries?
Okay. So risk for any surgery are almost similar, you know. So if you're undergoing to any surgery, you have the normal risk factors which are there for any kind of surgery, anesthesia related, surgery related, the cancer related. So I mean, I'm not going to discuss all those. Other than this, what is specific to the prostate cancer is two common things are there. One is the erectile dysfunction. The patients may have some difficulty in erection and sexual activity. So there are multiple factors for that because patients are usually in the elderly age group and their baseline function is not that good. Sometimes there are some other problems like diabetes and hypertension and some other heart issues. With that, there is some erectile dysfunction. So this erectile dysfunction or the erection issue or sexual issue is the one common side effect of the prostate surgery, which can be preserved in some patients but not possible for all the patients. Second is the incontinence or involuntary leakage of urine. So because when you remove the prostate, some part of the sphincter mechanism which controls the urinary leakage gets damaged, and that's why there is incontinence for almost all the patient for some time. But with experience, with the better understanding of the anatomy, incontinence rates are much lower now. And if the patient is active and he's doing all those exercises that which prescribe after surgery, called Kegel exercises, they regain their continence within a few weeks, maybe 1 month or 2 months maximum. Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abhay, for your valuable time, and it has been quite a informative session. Thank you.
Thank you, Aritra. Thank you.
Thank you.